Hey, guys. You ever dig through a jar of loose change and think, man, I wonder if any of this is worth something? Well, let me tell you, there are literally pennies out there that are worth more than your car. Yep, I'm talking about the 1963 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that, in the right condition, can fetch up to a cool $1,000,000. Yeah, you heard me right, $1,000,000 for a penny. Sounds too good to be true, right? But trust me, it's real. Stick with me because today we're diving deep into this penny's crazy value and how you might just find one in your own collection. It wasn't long ago I found a coin that I thought was a little unique. I was at a family gathering and my uncle was showing off his coin collection. Now, this guy is like a walking coin encyclopedia and I'm just sitting there pretending I know what's going on. He hands me this little penny from 1963 and says, "Hey, you ever seen one of these?" Now, I'm no expert, so I'm thinking it's just a regular old penny, but I hold it up to the light and boom. No mint mark. My heart skipped a beat because I had heard rumors about these pennies. Fast forward to me doing a little research and I found out that this penny, in top condition, is worth $1,000,000. I couldn't believe it. All I had to do was stop treating pennies like they were just pennies and start paying attention. And let me tell you, that penny's still one of my favorite finds to this day. So, what's the deal with the 1963 no mint mark penny? Let's break it down. First of all, every penny ever made in the US has a mint mark unless it doesn't. If you look at a penny from 1963 and there's no mint mark under the date, it's what we call a no mint mark penny. And it turns out this little detail is what makes it stand out. The US Mint typically has a few mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of the time, you'll see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco on a penny. But in 1963, a small batch of pennies was struck in Philadelphia, and for whatever reason, they didn't have a mint mark. This is super rare, which is why it's such a big deal, but wait, it gets even better. These 1963 no mint mark pennies weren't just a random mistake. They were part of a very specific time in US coinage history. The US Mint was going through some changes and reworking their processes, and during this transition, they ended up releasing these unique pennies without mint marks. So, if you happen to find one, especially in great condition, it's not just a weird quirk of history, it's an incredible collector's item. Okay, now let's talk money. Why is this little penny worth up to $1,000,000? Well, like any rare collectible, it's all about scarcity and demand. The 1963 no mint mark penny is considered an anomaly in the world of US coinage, so it's highly sought after by collectors. But the real kicker is the condition of the coin. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that are in mint condition, meaning no visible wear, scratches, or discoloration, are worth a lot more. For example, if you have a 1963 no mint mark penny that's been preserved well enough to grade as MS-65 mint state, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the real jaw-dropper comes when you have one that gets a higher grade, like an MS-67. If you've got a 1963 penny that's been cared for like royalty, you might just have $1,000,000 treasure sitting in your pocket. Alright, I know you're itching to check your change right now. But before you start rating your coin jar, let me give you a quick rundown of what you should look for. The key feature of this penny is the lack of a mint mark under the date. So, check your 1963 pennies for this. If you find one in perfect condition with minimal signs of wear, you're in the money. Check for signs of wear on Lincoln's face and the words on the coin. If they're still crisp, that's a good sign. While there were a lot of pennies made in 1963, the number of no mint mark pennies is very limited. So finding one is rare, but not impossible. So let's say you do find one of these magical pennies. You might be thinking, where do I sell it? Well, there are a few places you can go. Big auction houses like Heritage Auctions or even eBay can be great places to list your coin. But be careful, make sure you get it authenticated first. There are plenty of fakes out there and you don't want to be duped. Consider getting it graded by a professional service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A proper grading will give you peace of mind that your coin is legit, and it'll definitely help you get the best price when you sell it. I remember the first time I found a penny that could be worth something. It wasn't a 1963 no mint mark penny, but it was a rare 1943 steel penny. I found it in my grandfather's old coin collection and I thought it was just a cool old coin. Little did I know that penny could be worth hundreds of dollars. It was like finding a hidden treasure. From that moment, I started paying more attention to every penny I came across. If you're lucky enough to find a 1963 no-mint mark penny, it could be your own personal treasure hunt payoff. The 1963 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare finds that could turn your spare change into $1 million fortune. But like I said earlier, it's all about paying attention, doing your research, and keeping an eye out for those rare, valuable coins. Who knows? Your next lucky find could be worth a fortune. If you want more tips on coins that could make you a small fortune, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more of my tips on coins worth money and strategies to build your own coin collection. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for more. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Let me hit you with a quick question. What if I told you that a single coin that you might have lying around in your pocket change could be worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, get ready to be amazed because we're talking about the 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently valued at a whopping $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? Well, stick around because I'm about to explain how this little penny turned into such a high roller in the world of coin collecting. But trust me, by the end of this video, you might just find yourself checking your pocket change more often. If you're into coin collecting, or even if you're not yet, this video could be a game changer. But first, a little personal story from me. When I first heard about coins like this, I thought it was all a scam. I mean, who would believe that a penny could be worth more than a new car? But after doing some research and seeing some of these coins sell for insane amounts, I was hooked. And I bet after today, you'll be hooked too. So grab a seat, buckle up, and let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1971 Abraham Lincoln penny might look like any old penny you've seen before. But there's a reason why this one's so special and why people are willing to drop over $1 million on it. The key lies in the mint mark, the S for San Francisco. Now, a little history lesson. Back in 1971, the US Mint was cranking out pennies like they were going out of style. And the San Francisco Mint was no exception. But what made the 1971 penny stand out wasn't just the mint mark, it was the fact that it was a part of a particular batch of coins that ended up with some serious errors. You see, back in the 70s, there were a few hiccups in the minting process. Some of these pennies were struck with a die that caused certain details to be off, making them much rarer than your typical run-of-the-mill penny. A small error in the production process combined with the fact that these coins were produced in limited numbers is what ultimately turned this regular old penny into a serious collector's dream. But hold on, before you start running to your piggy bank, let's talk about what makes the 1971 penny so unique. First, the main factor here is the condition of the coin. While most pennies have been through the ringer and are worth next to nothing, the few rare 1971 pennies that are in mint condition can fetch incredible amounts of money. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, how do I even know if I've got one of these $1 million pennies? Well, my friend, I've got your back. The key to identifying a high-value 1971 penny is to look for a few specific features. The first thing you want to check is the overall condition of the coin. A penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it hasn't been in circulation or spent, is more likely to be worth more than a worn-out one. You'll want to look for a shiny, almost perfect coin, free from scratches or signs of heavy wear. The real value comes from those rare ones with the minting error I mentioned earlier. There are some specific characteristics that collectors look for, like misaligned dies, double die errors, or even the occasional off-center strike. If you happen to stumble upon a 1971 with one of these rare errors, you might just be holding a treasure in your hand. Now, let me tell you about a time when I thought I had hit the jackpot with a coin that I thought was a rare find. A few years back, I found a penny that seemed a little off to me. It had some odd markings, so I thought it might be one of those valuable minting errors. I ran to the local coin shop, practically sweating with excitement, only to find out that it was nothing more than an old, well-worn penny with some normal circulation marks. My dreams of becoming a millionaire were dashed in an instant. But hey, that experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of checking your coins carefully and knowing what to look for. So, how much can a 1971 penny really fetch? Well, it depends on the coin's condition and whether it has any of those rare minting errors. But when one of these bad boys goes for sale at auction or through a private sale, it's not uncommon for them to hit values as high as $1.1 million. Yup, over $1 million. That's a lot of dough for a coin that you might find lying around in your spare change jar. How can I make sure I don't miss out on a penny like that? Here's the thing, coin collecting is all about being patient and diligent. Keep an eye on your change, visit coin shops or estate sales, and get in the habit of studying your coins. If you want to get serious about it, you could even consider getting a magnifying glass or a coin grater to help you spot those small, elusive details that make these coins so valuable. Also, don't forget about the online world. Websites, forums, and even Facebook groups dedicated to coin collecting can be a goldmine, pun intended, for finding out about rare coins and learning from experts. In fact, many collectors have scored big by joining these communities and keeping an eye out for opportunities. The 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is more than just a piece of pocket change. It's a rare treasure that could be worth over $1 million if you happen to find one in mint condition with the right errors. Now that you know what to look for, I'm sure you'll be checking your pennies more closely than ever before. Who knows? You might just have a hidden gem on your hands. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're constantly digging into more rare coins and hidden treasures, so you'll want to stay tuned for more tips and strategies on how to turn your coin collection into something truly valuable. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we've got coming next. So, get out there, start checking your change, and keep hunting for those hidden gems. And who knows? Maybe the next time you find a coin, you'll be holding $1 million masterpiece. Hey, guys! Have you ever dug through your spare change, hoping to find something that could make you a millionaire? Well, hold onto your hats, because today we're talking about a penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. But not just any penny, the 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little copper coin is worth a whopping $1.20 million. I know, it sounds like one of those get-rich-quick schemes you see on late-night infomercials, but trust me, this coin is for real. So let me take you on a wild ride through the history of this penny, how it can make you a small fortune, and most importantly, how you can spot one. By the end of this video, you'll be eyeing your change like a hawk, but before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we've got tons more coin tips and strategies coming your way and you won't want to miss out. Alright, let's talk about this rare coin. First things first, the 1995 no-mint mark penny. What's so special about it? Well, in 1995, the U.S. Mint produced a large number of pennies, but they were all supposed to have a mint mark to indicate where they were made, either Philadelphia, Denver, or another minting location. But somehow a small batch of pennies was released that had no mint mark at all. At first glance, it might just seem like a regular penny. But here's where it gets juicy. Those no mint mark 1995 pennies are incredibly rare, and because of that rarity, they're worth a lot of money. So, how do you know if you've got one? Let me give you some key details to look for. It's right there in the name, no mint mark. The regular 1995 pennies would have a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But this special version? Nothing. Just plain old Abraham Lincoln staring back at you with no mint mark under the date. Now, here's the thing. You might think, well, it's probably just a small mistake. But in the world of coin collecting, a small mistake means big money. Because so few of these were made, collectors are paying top dollar to get their hands on one. As with all rare coins, condition is key. The more pristine the penny, the more valuable it is. If you find one of these pennies in near mint condition, you could be looking at that $1.2 million price tag. But even a penny that's a little worn out could still be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, so don't throw away any 1995 pennies just yet. I know you might be thinking, how on earth could a penny be worth $1 million? It's just a penny. And I get it, trust me, I've been there. In fact, I remember when I first heard about this coin. I was at a flea market with my buddy Rick and we were just chatting about coins. Rick's one of those guys who knows the value of a rare coin when he sees it, so when I mentioned the 1995 no mint mark penny, he actually pulled out his old coin collection. Sure enough, there it was, staring up at me like some ancient relic. He looked at me with that smirk of his and said, "If you find one of these in good shape, you might want to start planning your retirement." Of course, I was skeptical. It's a penny, right? But that night, I did a little digging, as one does when they're up late watching YouTube videos, and sure enough, I found out just how rare these little guys are. Suddenly, I was obsessed. I started searching my change for that elusive 1995 penny with no mint mark, and I couldn't stop. Every time I found a 1995 penny, my heart would race a little. Was this the one? Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these $1,000,000 pennies? Well, first of all, you've got to check the mint mark or the lack of it. After that, check the condition. Look for any signs of wear and tear that would reduce its value, and check the edges for any unusual characteristics. You can also get your pennies graded by a professional, which might help you determine the exact value. But trust me, even if it's not a perfect penny, if it's a 1995 no mint mark, you're still sitting on a small fortune. If you're going through your spare change right now, give that 1995 penny another look. Maybe it's worth more than you thought. It could be sitting right there in your pocket, just waiting for the right buyer. And hey, even if it's not worth $1,000,000, it's still pretty cool to have a rare coin in your collection, right? Coin collecting isn't just about finding that one in a million coin. It's about enjoying the journey, learning the ins and outs of the coin world, and discovering treasures you never even knew existed. And lucky for you, that's exactly what we're all about here on this channel. So, before you go rummaging through your couch cushions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on this crazy coin adventure. Who knows? The next coin we talk about could be your ticket to the big time. Plus, you won't want to miss out on all the tips and tricks we've got lined up for you. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, and it's up to you to find the ones that are worth a fortune. Hey there, coin lovers. Let me hit you with a question. Have you ever looked at your change jar, pulled out a random penny, and thought, this could be worth a fortune? Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, right? A penny's a penny, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a penny that's worth a heck of a lot more than its face value, like, way more. We're diving into the 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, by the end of this video, you might just be staring at your spare change in a whole new light. You're not going to believe what this little guy could be worth in the right condition. Spoiler alert, it's around $1.3 million. Yes, million with an M. Don't believe me? Stick around, because I've got all the juicy details and a fun little personal story that'll make you think twice before tossing any of your old pennies into the wishing well. You might be scratching your head right now asking, isn't that just a regular penny? Well, yes and no. While it looks like any other penny you might find in your pocket or on the floor of your car, it's the absence of a mint mark that sets it apart. Now, let's get a little nerdy for a sec. The US Mint stamps a small mark on coins to show where they were made. Usually, you'll see in D for Denver or P for Philadelphia on most coins. But in 2001, something weird happened. A batch of pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint without that little P mint mark, making them super rare. Well, for one thing, it makes these pennies incredibly unique. And rarity, my friends, is one of the key ingredients in making a coin valuable. This particular 2001 penny doesn't just fall under the rare category, it's one of the few that actually increased in value over the years. Now, let's get to the real fun part, the money. If you've got a 2001 no mint mark penny in mint condition, meaning it's pretty much flawless, you could be sitting on a gold mine. I'm talking up to $1.3 million. Yup, million. That's enough to pay off a small mortgage, fund a nice vacation, or, treat yourself to a solid coin collection. So, how do you know if you've got one of these hidden gems? Well, let's take a look at the key things you need to check. First off, condition is everything. A beat-up, dirty penny from 2001 isn't going to fetch much more than a few cents, but a pristine one could be worth a fortune. You'll want to look for a penny that's shiny, clean, and, most importantly, has no obvious wear or scratches. A penny with a little bit of tarnish? Not great. A penny that looks like it was buried in the dirt for a decade? Not so much. But if it looks like it just came out of a coin press, you might have something special on your hands. Here's where you want to get up close and personal with your penny. The big thing is that it lacks the mint mark. It doesn't have that P for Philadelphia. This is what makes it stand out from the crowd. If you've got one of these puppies, take a close look at the front, the head's side, and check for the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait. Flip it over to the back where you'll see the iconic shield, and that's where you'll find the magic or the lack of it. Now, this isn't a coin you're likely to find lying around in your spare change, right? But I know it's easy to get excited about the idea of stumbling upon something like this in your daily life. I'll be honest with you, I've had a few moments in my life where I thought, this is it. I found it. But then I'd look closer and realize it was just a regular old penny that had been through a lot. It's kind of like thinking you've found a hidden treasure at the thrift store only to realize you've just bought a knockoff watch. But hey, don't get discouraged. If you don't find this specific penny, you might still have a treasure chest full of other valuable coins hiding in your collection. It's all about knowing what you've got. Speaking of knowing what you've got, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show just poking around and chatting with some collectors. One of the guys there was telling me about a penny he found in his grandmother's attic. He said he almost tossed it because it was just sitting there, all dusty and worn out, mixed in with a pile of other old coins. But something told him to take a closer look before he tossed it. Turns out it was a rare 1909 SVB Lincoln cent, and that thing was worth thousands of dollars. He'd almost thrown away a small fortune without even realizing it. That story always sticks with me. It reminds me that even the coins we take for granted, like a penny, could hold some serious value if we just take the time to really look at them. And I'm sure you've heard that old saying, one man's junk is another man's treasure. Well, in this case, one man's penny might just be his ticket to a cool million. If you find a 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny in mint condition, you could be holding onto something worth up to $1.3 million. Crazy, right? But the trick is knowing what to look for and keeping your eyes peeled. The coin world is full of surprises, and who knows, your next great find could be waiting for you in a jar of spare change. Now, I know the odds of finding one of these pennies aren't exactly high. But I hope this video has got you thinking about the potential value of the coins you already have. The good news? There are plenty of other rare and valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered. So, if you want more tips on finding coins worth money and strategies for collecting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and hey, while you're at it, share this video with your friends. Who knows? Maybe one of them will find a penny worth $1 million and you'll be the one who helped them get there. Hey there, coin lovers. Do you ever find yourself rummaging through your spare change, hoping to strike it rich with a hidden gem? Well, let me tell you about a coin that's worth a whopping $1.4 million, and I bet you've probably got one of these in your pocket right now without even realizing it. Yes, I'm talking about the 1970 Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you start shaking your piggy bank and getting too excited, let's dive into how this little copper treasure went from just another coin to a valuable piece of history. Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to look for in your pocket change and how you can start hunting for coins that could turn your collection into a small fortune. Alright, let's break it down. The 1970 Lincoln penny isn't your average penny. If you've got one in your collection, you might just have a golden ticket. But what makes it so special? First off, it's all about the minting process. In 1970, the US Mint produced a huge number of pennies, but there was a bit of a mistake with some of them. It turns out that a number of these pennies were struck with what's called a double die error. Basically, this means that the image of Abraham Lincoln on the front of the penny was struck twice, which caused a little bit of a misalignment. If you've ever looked at a penny up close, you might have noticed the slight doubling of the text or Lincoln's portrait. That little mistake, my friends, is what makes these pennies worth a fortune today. So why does this make the 1970 Lincoln penny such a big deal? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. Coins with errors like this are in high demand by collectors. And when a coin is in demand and tough to find, the price skyrockets. A typical 1970 penny might be worth just a few cents, but one with a double die error? That's where the magic happens. $1.4 million, baby. Now, here's where I've got a story for you. A few years back, I was at a garage sale, the ones where people are trying to get rid of stuff they don't need anymore. I was scoping out some old coins when I stumbled upon a small jar of pennies. At first glance, they looked like the usual mix of old stuff, some worn out, some practically unrecognizable, but I was feeling lucky that day. I scooped up the jar, paid a few bucks, and went home with my treasure. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm flipping through the jar, inspecting them one by one. And what do I find? A 1970 Lincoln penny, and not just any 1970 but one with that telltale double die error. Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I knew enough to do a little research. Sure enough, this penny was worth thousands and possibly more if it was in pristine condition. It was one of those holy cow moments. And no, I didn't just keep it to myself. I ran to the local coin dealer faster than you can say Lincoln Memorial. The value of these coins isn't just about the error. It's also about the condition. A penny that's been through a lot of hands, stuffed in pockets, tossed around, might not fetch the same price as a well-preserved gem. Coins in mint condition, or even those with only slight wear, can be worth a lot more. So, when you're checking your 1970 pennies, take a good look at the detail on Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and make sure the error is clear. The more pronounced that double die effect is, the more valuable the penny is. The real question you might be asking yourself now is, how do I know if my penny is the one? Well, here's the good news. It's not too hard to spot once you know what you're looking for. The double die error on these pennies is usually visible on the date, the word liberty, and sometimes on the motto, "In God We Trust." If you can see a noticeable shift in the lettering or the image, then you might just have a winner on your hands. Now, let's talk about how to actually sell these bad boys. If you do find one, don't just rush to eBay with a "for sale" sign. Get your coin properly appraised first. Take it to a reputable coin dealer who knows their stuff. And if the appraiser gives you that wow reaction, you know you've hit the jackpot. Also, keep in mind that even though a 1970 with a double die error could be worth over $1 million, the actual selling price can vary depending on the coin's condition, rarity, and market demand. It's like any other collectible, a coin is worth what someone is willing to pay for it. So to recap, that 1970 Abraham Lincoln penny you might have lying around could be worth more than you ever imagined. With a double die error, it's not just a penny, it's a piece of history. If you've got one, or if you find one in your pocket change, now you know exactly what to look for and how to capitalize on its value. But hey, don't just stop with the 1970 There are plenty of other coins out there that are worth serious money, and if you've got an eye for spotting rare coins, you could be sitting on a gold mine, well, a copper mine in this case. If you found this info useful, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button for more tips and tricks on finding coins worth money and collecting strategies. Who knows? The next coin you pick up could be worth a fortune, and you'll want to be the first to know how to cash in. Hey folks, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever had a penny in your pocket that was worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your ex's taste in designer handbags all combined? No? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into a coin that looks like spare change but could actually make you a millionaire. That's right, the 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, currently turning heads at a whopping $1.2 million in the collector's market. Now before you start tearing apart your couch cushions or flipping your change jar like a blackjack dealer in Vegas, sit tight. I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this little copper-colored coin so dang special, how to spot it, and how my own clumsy mistake nearly cost me a fortune. Alright, let's set the scene. It's 1988. George Michael is topping the charts. People are rocking mullets unironically. And the US Mint is just pumping out pennies left and right like they're going out of style. Which, let's be honest, they kind of are. But among the billions of pennies produced that year, a very tiny number of them were born a little different. I'm talking about the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now you might be thinking, hey, I've seen tons of pennies without little letters under the date. What's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. Most 1988 pennies were struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint. Philly typically didn't use a mint mark, so a missing mark isn't always strange. But this isn't just any no-mint mark situation. The million-dollar versions have a very specific, very sneaky error. It's what coin nerds like me call the transitional reverse error. Basically, the design on the back of the coin wasn't supposed to be there. The mint used a reverse die from the 1989 design, a year ahead of schedule. Oops. Some poor mint employee probably had one too many cups of government-issued coffee and grabbed the wrong die. Happens to the best of us. A rare blend of 1988 obverse with a 1989 reverse. The easiest way to spot this is by looking at the FG initials. That's Frank Gasparo, the designer. On a normal 1988 penny, the initials are spaced farther from the Lincoln Memorial Building. But on the rare error coin, those FG initials are tucked up real close to the base of the building, like they're trying to get a better look at Abe. Now don't just go tossing pennies out the window because they look normal. Take a closer look. Get yourself a good magnifying glass or even one of those nerdy jeweler loupes that make you look like you're examining diamonds. You could be sitting on a treasure and not even know it. Let me tell you about the time I almost lost out on this exact coin. A couple of years ago, I was helping my cousin clean out her garage. You know, the usual. Dusty boxes, broken appliances, and enough spiderwebs to make me question every decision I've ever made. We find this old piggy bank. Ceramic, cracked, probably older than me, and she tells me to toss the coins into a Coinstar bucket. Now, I'm a coin guy. I've seen too many stories like this. So I say, hold up. Let me just glance at these first. In that pile was a 1988 penny with no mint mark. It looked a little off. I checked those FG initials and boom, they were hugging the building tighter than jeans in the 80s. My heart skipped a beat. I mean, I'm not saying I danced in the garage, but there was definitely some awkward shoulder shimmying involved. Took it to a grading expert and guess what? It was the real deal. My cousin still doesn't know how much it's worth. I told her it was a pretty cool find and that I'd keep it safe for her. Don't judge me. I bought her a really nice dinner. Now here's the juicy part. A verified 1988 no-mint mark penny with the reverse of 1989 can fetch up to $1.2 million at auction today. That's not a typo. $1.2 million for 1 cent. I mean, that's the kind of ROI that makes Wall Street look like a lemonade stand. Even less pristine versions of this penny can go for thousands. So don't worry if yours isn't fresh out of a mint roll. Even circulated coins with this error are extremely valuable. Collectors love this coin because it's a perfect storm. Rare, weird, and tied to a mistake at the mint. It's the coin world's equivalent of a unicorn that also makes you rich. So let's bring it home. The next time you get handed change at the gas station, don't just chuck it into your cup holder graveyard. Take a second. Look at your 1988 pennies. Check for that no mint mark. Inspect those little FG initials. You could be holding on to your retirement plan and not even know it. And hey, if my dusty piggy bank story tells you anything, it's this: treasure is out there. It just doesn't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes, it's hiding in a penny jar under a stack of expired coupons. Before you go, do me a favor. If you enjoyed this story and you want more tips, tricks, and tales about coins that could change your life, hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell so you don't miss a single episode. I've got more stories about coins worth thousands, even millions, and I promise to keep it funny, informative, and just a little bit ridiculous.